There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam, all right? Let's go.
I also find it rich that all of the sudden the other side has some problem with successful businessmen being involved in politics whenever you guys are the party of George Soros, of Bill and Melinda Gates, of Sheryl Sandberg, of Mackenzie Bezos, of Taylor Swift, of so many other billionaires across the country, as well as every woke, weird pervert in Hollywood. I find this incredibly disingenuous. I think the reality is that the Republican Party under President Trump has a very clear mandate from voters, and you guys don't like it because voters rejected everything you stand for and every policy that you've shoved down the American people's throats over the past 4 years, whether it's open borders, a failing economy, raging inflation, this weird woke stuff that you guys have been shoving down our children's throats. And the voters rejected you and they welcomed our party.
In the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
You done fucked up now!
What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people? Hey.
I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded. I rode bus retarded.
Damn.
In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah.
To be moronical.
Exactly. To be a moron.
An imbecile.
Yeah.
Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
In a weird way, it was almost like I had to sort of fool my mind into believing that it wasn't retarded. And by the end of the whole thing, I was like, wait a minute, you know? I flushed so much out, how am I going to jumpstart it up again? It's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
You was farting in bathtubs and laughing your ass off.
Yeah.
You serious? You don't know. Everybody knows you never go full retard.
What do you mean?
You know any retarded war
RICO
heroes?
is not a crime. It is a category.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
But I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. What's the matter, dog? You in Paris? This guy's a gangster. His real name's Clarence. And Clarence lives at home with both parents. And Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
Joey, just wondering, do you think people with Trump derangement syndrome know they have it?
You're an idiot.
And second question, did you steal Trump's haircut or did he steal yours?
Because y'all got false narratives out there, and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
I'm also the supervisor of Thorn Township. So when do I have time for little people? I don't. They beneath me. They beneath me.
And not let people feed you poison.
What's the big idea? I'm the hero of this picture. Carry me. Give me the cheers. Give me the...
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
Who is the most masculine Democrat right now in America? Mayor Pete?
Is that a gay joke?
No. Mayor Pete. No. Well, no, it's just that he's not particularly masculine. Nobody's like, oh, Mayor Pete, he's a badass. Chuck Schumer? Is anybody like, hey, Chuck Schumer holding up an avocado and a beer to talk about the Super Bowl? Is anybody like, hey, that's a dude I want to hang out with?
But Trump's like a grandpa.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Trump took a bullet in his ear and immediately stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. Every man in America and most of the women out here were impressed by that, even if the women won't admit it. She's shaking her head strong. And second part of this, basically summing it up, Democrats for men are pussies and Republicans
Democrats for men
are pussies. There are no masculine men in the Democrat Party right now.
You let them hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you a single mom. Now you a single mom. You said you gonna have this kid, don't care if he's here or not. But now you a single mom. Now you a single mom.
Ask you a question.
What do you have? Go ahead. No, that's enough. Go ahead.
Can I ask? But that wasn't my question.
The problem is you don't write the truth. So, as far as I'm concerned, I want to go to the next
Can I
person.
ask you a question about?
No, not CNN, please. Go ahead.
The White House has not responded to these
I told you. CNN is fake news. Don't talk to me. Go ahead, please.
But he says he was retaliated against, and that's why he was removed from his job. Do you have a response to that?
Okay, next question.
Mr. President, I have.
Ryan Mast just pulled the funniest troll move. He straight up corrected the evicted protesters like, yeah, PEPFAR funding was restored.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to testify before this committee. My name is Max Primorak. I am a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I previously served at the U.S. Agency for International...
PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives!
I guess these guys don't watch the news. They didn't realize that PEPFAR was one of the many programs that did prove to be life-saving, so the funding was restored. Somebody better give them a link to, I don't know, maybe Fox News or something like that.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
It ain't true. That's what you just heard. Day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices have gone up. Inflation is getting worse. Not prices. Prices of gas, housing, eggs, essential rent. Even eggs. These are all getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump does nothing. Lower prices. Instead, he's letting
Social Security budgets, tax dollars, health care, thousands of essential workers. Fight Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come here. Funding vital programs. So many cancer, education, payments to family farmers, so much. Why are they doing this? Trump wants to go taking these vital services away from you. So the Republican plan is simple. Their plan is awful. Simply awful. Billionaires win, families.
That is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
And that is the truth.
They don't stand for anything humane. They don't stand for us as citizens. They don't stand for our security. They don't stand for honorable things that we need in this country. And it's very disgraceful to us as U.S. citizens that those are the people that we have here in Congress and House and Senate. It's disgusting.
All right, so I don't know if I'm lagging behind or if that was the intro or what. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Tix. In all honesty, so many videos, so little time, I don't even know where to start. But I guess I'll start with Brian Donalds. Got attacked by, a typical liberal white supremacist. And woo! I mean, the audacity, the lion, the witch, the audacity of this. But let's get into it.
Do you agree as a member? Hang on, I'm sorry, ma'am. But as a member of Congress, because I was just in D.C. on Monday for Trans-State Visibility, and I would like you, as a member of Congress, to rise up and support LGBTQ plus youth and stop this fucking insane attack on our children who know who they are.
Okay, first and foremost, there is no attack on trans youth because there's no such thing as trans youth. What she's talking about is in the state of Florida, they don't allow people like her and teachers to brainwash children as little kids into being gay. And then when they turn into teenagers and they go through puberty, and we've all went through it. Every single last one of us. You have those growing pains. And what they'll do is counselors in the schools, they'll tell the kids that they were born in the wrong body. So they'll secretly try to trans the kid. They'll put puberty blockers and everything. They sterilize the kids and then cut off their sex organs and have them running around claiming to be another sex. That's what she's talking about. State of Florida doesn't allow that insanity, that child abuse. She considers that fascist. She considers adults protecting children from, life-destroying surgeries and ideologies. She calls that fascism.
Number one,
no.
Of course you're not.
Number one, no. Why would you ask me a question and you don't want to hear my answer? Like, okay, then why did you even bother to ask me that? Tell me this is a Karen takedown, please. Oh, yes, we're going to deal with some serious Karens today.
Because you're a fascist. You're a racist. You're a race traitor and you're a fascist.
You hear that? She called him a race traitor. She called him a race traitor because understand, to liberal white people, they think that us as black people all think alike. They think we all think alike, that we're all Democrats, that we're all dummies, and we have to do as they say. They think that they speak for us.
Yelling at me, you call me a fascist, you call me a race traitor, and you want me to agree with you? What are you talking about, ma'am? I'm a constitutionalist. Ma'am, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in freedom and liberty for everybody. I believe in the U.S. Constitution. I believe in everybody's freedoms and rights. But if I don't agree, hold on. But when I don't agree with you, then all of a sudden I'm a fascist. That's what's wrong. If all you want to do is yell and scream and curse when I don't agree with you, I'm sorry, ma'am. You are now in the 20% of America.
You don't need to worry because you will never get my vote, and you don't live here.
I'm going to be your governor. Trust me.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And I mean, woo, it's like I want to get to the jazzy stuff, but hold on before we get to the jazzy stuff, because we got a lot of jazzy stuff to go through today. Let's see, what's shorter? Okay, let's go through this. Just to show you that there's a difference between us as black men. Here, what's up, Jibba? You have black men who actually care about where they live, and then you have psychotic black men who are single mom raised and they're psychotic. Prime example.
With it, because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up.
Yeah, he's running for Florida governor. Ron DeSantis, he's done. This is his last term. This is his last term. All right, so let's get back. Let's get to this guy. This was this weirdo.
Have to grapple with it because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up in the heart, the bosom of the country, as Frederick Douglass said. And the fact that they are doubling down on this shows you what kind of human beings they actually are.
Say more.
We chose a felon who is more interested in loyalty, who's more interested in retribution, who's more interested in grift than in democracy. And we chose a felon because we didn't want to elect a black woman. So to read that, to actually explicate that, is to say we would rather destroy the republic than for that to have happened.
The hell is this guy
until we
talking
grapple with it, there's no amount of protesting I could do. There's no amount of resistance that could come into play to actually force 78 million people to grapple with what motivated them to put themselves in this position.
Well, Kamala Harris, what's up, Detroit? She was enough. The past 4 years was enough. This lady running around calling Brian Donalds a fascist and a race traitor, that was enough. Michael Eric Dyson and Roland should go live go live on an island somewhere, right? Yeah, she was hot garbage. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? She didn't even make it out of the primaries last time. Like, get the hell up out of here. And the thing about him and who was that fat Albert dude with the white hair? I meant to get to his stuff. Like, dude, like, if y'all don't go sit y'all goofy selves down somewhere, like, y'all sound so stupid. So this type of thinking that this guy and that white chick, this is the type of thinking that has affected Black society. Let me show you this.
You, for some reason.
Now, understand, now, from what I was saying, you say, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Eli Misto, he looked like a lit cigar. That fat pork chop eating son of a Christmas. Anyway, so this story right here, apparently, I think they were responding to a bomb threat or something like that. So the police showed up. And of course, they're at the office. You say, meanwhile, Kamala supported death penalty on Black people. Ask Janet and Jamal Truelove. Yeah, throwing Black women in jail because their kids didn't go to school and whatnot. Not letting Black people get out early, over sentencing, convict leasing. I mean, she was doing all the things that Black folks love to cry and scream and rant about white folks doing. But yet she was right there doing it. Right there doing it. But, you know, whatever. I mean, people really think that Kamala lost the race because she's a Black woman. No, she lost the race because she's an idiot of a woman. But getting back to this, I mean, that's already been, yeah, it was her MO. Like, that's already been covered. But that dude, he brought it up. This was last week he brought that up. But getting back to this. So the cops were responding to a bomb threat or something going on with a teacher. The original story that I saw, this was about a bomb threat. So they responded to the school, and this is the insanity that they had to put up with at that school when they got there.
You, for some reason, you don't like the police, and you want to make things so difficult for us that we don't want to come to your school. And listen, I listened to you, did I not?
You did.
You are, and I don't know what in your life happened that you hate us so much that you don't want to cooperate.
Nothing.
But the teachers union, and I've talked with them.
I'm gonna pause you because it's not going to be back and forth. I don't have any hate towards the police or anything like that. There are some who come in over to Ridgeview who are just fine. Mm-hmm. But all of this and escalatedness and so forth and so on, I do not feel safe. I don't feel comfortable. But because I'm the building principal and I heard what was going on, safe right then now. I came on.
You don't feel safe right now.
I do not.
Okay, well,
you know what it is? It's not because they're police. It's because they're white. This is Columbus, Ohio. It's because they're white. If Black cops would have showed up, like she said, I've had cops come here and it hasn't been a problem. So white cops show up and she got it at a public school and she got an issue.
Then why don't you go back to your office and hide and say.
So, Mr. Howe, did you provide him with the information?
I'm going to walk out and give it to you.
Okay.
Can I go and give you?
Yeah, just give me the top half, and that's fine. I need name, date of birth, and his contact information.
Yeah, that's what I'm give you. And then, like I said,
and that's what we have.
And they're not even there for her.
So that's actually.
They responded to a distress call.
Because we were the ones who called the school. We called from our ends.
Well, you haven't been willing to do that before. So now there has been some changes. There has been some changes. And you've been forced to give us some information that we've needed. You never have. This is a first for you. I'm impressed.
May I have your badge,
It's Officer Connor, badge 1300.
Figure out what's going on.
Give me 1 second. We'll get the lines.
Chick is ridiculous.
You see what I mean? Something in her life has happened
Nothing.
And I don't know what, but
She's just
she
silly.
is absolutely the most uncooperative person that I've ever dealt with in a school system that wants the police. But if there's a situation here, we don't need to beg that to get through that door. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing happened. She's just silly. She's just silly. That's all. She's just another silly moron. This is why I be telling y'all, man, y'all can't be letting all that race stuff just permeate through your head like that. They were called, she called them, the school called the police. They responded to a distress call, but she don't want the police now in the school because they white.
This session, some of your goals, is there anything you're trying to pass? How much of it is going on offense? How much of it is going on defense, trying to stop the Republicans?
Trying to pass? No. I should.
Right, yeah, you ain't trying to pass no laws. You're not trying to get nobody no jobs down there in Texas. All you doing is just sitting up here making goofy faces and cursing all in Congress and doing stupid TikTok dances and just making a plumb fool of yourself. You're not doing anything for the people. You're just doing performance art.
I'd probably be a better politician and tell you, yes, we've got all this amazing legislation that I can absolutely imagine Donald Trump signing into law, and I'm just not gonna lie. I think that right now it is about preserving our basics and getting back some of the norms that make sure that people have food on the table, the norms that make sure that people aren't going through any extra layer of stress when it comes to figuring out education for their kids. So right now, I can tell you that unfortunately, I am not working towards very much that I would consider being the progress train. I am working to make sure that I can minimize the regress train right now.
Yeah, you see, they asked her, hey, well, what are you doing? We just gonna keep doing what we doing. All right, so you say that you're not gonna have a black governor. So here's who you got. So you've got Charles Burkett, Byron Donalds, Casey DeSantis, Matt Gaetz, Ashton Hayward, Jeanette Nunez, Wilton Simpson, Francis Juarez. That's who you got. And right now, the person that's out front the most is Byron Donalds. That's who's. I mean, Casey DeSantis. Yeah, that's his wife, but I doubt it very highly. So we'll see. Her sound is ultra low. Yeah, sorry. She has a large skull. Imagine Americans taking over jobs in China. What would have happened by the Jinping? Oh man, it'd been a whole mess. So, all right, so let's get into the stupidity. Man. Okay, let's start with our favorite TV racist, Sunny Hostin. Let's start with her.
Their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Right. I mean,
actually, yeah, she is legitimately racist and stupid. She's legit. Sunny Host is legitimately racist and stupid. But here's the thing: you need ID to vote. When I went to go vote, you know what they did with my ID? They scanned it to make sure it was valid. They scanned my ID, like, okay, here you go. She's talking like they're gonna be, with the fluorescent lights and FBI and typing it in, running a background check and let me see your photo. They're not gonna do any of that. They're just gonna scan it. Because the thing about it is, as I said, with them killing off all of those Social Security numbers that were sold off, those numbers are dead. So now they're going to scan it, and if the Social Security number, if it doesn't match the region of the owner, and it's been deactivated, then you can't vote. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. If he get the governorship, I'll drive to Tallahassee for his inauguration, but I doubt it. I doubt I'll be making that trip. We'll see though. Yeah. Also a birth certificate and Social Security able to vote. Yeah, no real ID, no vote. Yeah, she acts slow. So your girl crackhead Crockett, she joined in on this stupidity.
Go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't no.
Oh no, wrong video. Hold on.
So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
All right. Wrong video. I think this video, it might be, let's see. Okay, all right. I see what it is. All right, my bad. Let's see. You say that's a character. She's nothing like that. I'm sure of it. Failed immigration policies. Right. So before we jump on that, let me get on this. I'm sorry, y'all. Because I'm trying to get all this stuff together. All right. So in response to what Sonny Holston had to say, you had a guy go out on the street and ask black people about voter ID, because I remember Jasmine said something about it. Like, she don't learn, do she? No, she don't, because she's getting paid to do it. As Scott Jennings said something very profound concerning Jasmine Crockett. As long as there's an audience for that's cheering her on, she'll continue to do it. It's not until she gets that Tim Walz treatment that he got the other day, where he had the veterans and they, called him a liar and a fraud and told him to shut up. Yeah, it's not until she get that treatment that she'll probably stop. But let's get on to this. I'm sorry.
Your thoughts on what you just heard? Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Yeah, everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right?
That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Did you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can access the
unlimited.
Internet unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's what my thought process was.
I just think that's ignorant. Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word I'm hearing a lot.
Ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
You judging somebody, but you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Are you cool?
Love showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you have to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
All right, so again, embarrassing black, trying to embarrass black people. And you say, I've been on the internet since 1997. He has that nervous pause before starting black. Legitimate racist. Why homies don't even know what the internet was. Yeah, so here's Jasmine Crockett. This is what she had to say. Today, we're voting on what Republicans are calling the SAVE Act. But let's be real, it's a straight up voter suppression bill. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me remove this and add that. There we go. Sorry. Here you go. Today, we're voting on what Republicans are calling the SAVE Act. But let's be real, it's a straight up voter suppression bill, supposedly. They are literally trying to make it harder for millions of Americans to exercise their right to vote. I'm voting no, hell no, actually. Well, it passed. Thank you. And as she said, this bill will stop millions of residents who worked hard to get here. Who worked hard to get here? They pick our crops. See? They pick our crops. They make delicious street food. Who are we to say if they can or can't vote? Us, the American people who are citizens who have earned the right to vote. That's who. That's who. And for the record, let me show y'all this. Tim Walz. Let me show y'all when Tim Walz got booed and cussed out.
Welcome to the Capitol. It's great that you're here. Sir, you're welcome to come. Let me finish. Let me finish. Oh, hey, there's some passion in the middle.
So that's what Jasmine was talking about when she was talking about illegal immigrants.
To go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I know that's right.
What is she talking about? What is, like, seriously, what is she talking about? What is she talking about? Machines do the cotton picking now. Big old giant machines pick cotton now. And for the record, 40%. Let me show y'all this. Let me remove her. Let me show y'all this. Look at this. Donald Trump says millions of illegal immigrants could be allowed to return. President Donald Trump, this is Newsweek. President Donald Trump has proposed that undocumented immigrants employed in sectors such as agriculture and hospitality could self-deport and return legally, provided their employers vouch for them. What did I say in the last broadcast earlier today? Go ahead, register the thing, self-deport, and then refile, and more than likely, if you don't have a criminal record, they'll let you come back and they'll work on your legal immigration status. For those of y'all that was here earlier, did I not say that? Have I not been saying that? Take the test. Take the citizenship test. Come on, get in here legally. Any rate, I don't want to go on a tangent. Trump has vowed to carry out the largest mass deportation operation in U.S. history to address illegal immigration and border security. However, the policy has sparked concerns about its potential effects on the economy. Agricultural production could fall by 30 billion to 60 billion if Trump's cornerstone policy is implemented, according to the American Business Immigration Coalition, ABIC. It is estimated that 4 million to 5 million undocumented immigrants work in U.S. agriculture, meaning millions of migrants could be allowed to return to the country under the new proposal. On Thursday, Trump said at a cabinet meeting, we have to take care of our farmers, the hotels, and, the various places where they tend to need people. So a farmer will come in with a letter concerning certain people saying they're great, they're working hard. We're going to slow it down a little bit for them, and then we're going to ultimately bring them back. They'll go out. They're going to come back as legal workers, he continued. The meaning behind his remark to slow it down a little bit for them remained unclear. In other words, they're not raiding the farms. If you notice, as far as this whole, illegal immigration situation, deporting people, as they said, we're going after the criminals. If you don't associate with the criminals, you won't get caught up in the sweep. You understand? You will not get caught up in the sweep, because trust me, if they meant every illegal, the first place they would raid is farms and hotels and places like that. They go for agriculture and hotels. They go for them first. All right? Construction sites. Places where illegals tend to work because they know that they can get a job there is grunt work that the average American doesn't want to do. They know exactly where these people are. They can tell by the social security numbers, but they give them a break. They're not after them. They want the criminals first. Anyway, at the same time, the administration has intensified efforts to arrest, detain, and deport undocumented immigrants in line with Trump's pledge to launch a historic mass deportation campaign. Again, the criminals, Tren de Alagra, MS-13, those type of people. About 40% of crop farm workers in the U.S. are undocumented, according to the Department of Agriculture. Yeah, amazing how they know that, right? In 2023, an estimated 1.1 million undocumented individuals were employed in the hospitality sector, including hotels and restaurants, making up about 7.6% of that workforce, an analysis by the American Immigration Council showed. Yeah, because if you go into any Asian-owned, restaurant, grocery store, whatever, they hire a lot of illegals. They have a lot of South Americans working for them. You'll see them working the grills, stocking the shelves, everything, working the registers, and they don't speak a lick of English. You think they here legally? No. But the Asians know that they can underpay them and work them to death because they're just happy to have a job. All right. The American Immigration Council projects that the mass deportation policy could incur a one-time cost of $315 billion. Furthermore, deporting 1 million individuals each year could lead to an annual expenses reaching up to $88 billion. That's okay. We can afford it. We're the United States. Business leaders have been raising the alarm over the president's hardline immigration agenda and its effects on the workforce. Wait, let me make sure y'all can see that. Okay, yeah. Oh, wait. You say the sister girl shit is embarrassing up to the halls of up in the, yeah. AI will take over. Let's see, and allow 1 year to be fluent in English. Yeah, learn your English. Take some classes. We'll have you take classes. You can go to night school and learn to speak English, so that way you'll be better able to communicate. Yeah, meat packing plants. Yeah, cutting grass. I'm at Popeye's Chicken, but I don't eat chicken for cheap labor. Yeah, yeah, the room I drew you in. Facts. Your Chinese food was cooked by Julio. Exactly. Be cooked by Julio. All right. So in March, business owners and industry leaders gathered in Washington, D.C. Y'all remember this? They had that meeting to meet with members of Congress as part of ABIC's Secure the Workforce campaign, which advocates for maintaining a steady flow of immigrant labor in the U.S. The coalition is backing legislation that would, among other provisions, grant work permits to immigrant workers. You know, in all honesty, I wouldn't even have them self-deport. I'll just be like, look, what's your real name? We gonna look, we showing up, show up to the courthouse, or we'll show up there. We're gonna fingerprint you, give us your real name. If you give us a fake name, you fail to document yourself. Okay, we'll deport you, but you need to come in here. We need to find out, because if you have a criminal record in Mexico, any type of violence, all right, any type of violence, you got to go. You can't be here. But everybody else, you can be here. We handle you right now. You don't have to self-deport. Stay right here. We'll grant you a special work visa. Here are the books. The classes are at the community college. You know what I'm saying? Start at 8 p.m. Get your butt in there from 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. Go learn English, learn American history. We'll see you in 6 months at the courthouse. You pass your test. We'll see you at the courthouse. We'll swear you in. Boom. We'll give you a real, fresh Social Security number, everything. You'll get a special citizenship. And then you go ahead. You get back to work. That's the most humane way to do it. Excuse me. Sorry. Let's see. A White House official told NBC News that Trump sought to enhance both the H-2A program, which allows agricultural employers to hire temporary and seasonal workers, and the H-2B program, which is used to bring in immigrant workers for temporary seasonal roles in industries such as hospitality, entertainment, and tourism. The H-2B visa is a temporary non-immigrant program that allows U.S. employers to hire foreign workers for seasonal or short-term non-agricultural jobs when qualified. American workers are insured. Oh, when qualified. Sorry, I'm reading that wrong. I'm all in my head. Employers hire foreign workers for seasonal or short-term non-agricultural jobs when qualified American workers are in short supply. It is commonly used in industries such as construction. What people are saying, now that President Trump successfully secured our borders last month, ABIC let a secure Americans workforce fly in Washington, D.C., where over 250 business leaders from 37 states attended more than 120 meetings with Republicans and Democrats and the Trump administration to call for common sense immigration reform. On the heels of these meetings, we appreciate the administration's acknowledgement of the vital role immigrant workers play in sustaining key industries like agriculture and hospitality. These workers are the backbone of our economy, ensuring our farmers thrive and our businesses operate smoothly. So how come little, ratchet Jazzy, how come she doesn't talk about that? You notice the Democrats don't even talk about that. Matter of fact, the Republicans neither side has talked about this meeting. They don't talk about this meeting. The Republicans, in all honesty, the Republicans have only been talking about the criminal illegals, while the Democrats are, trying to say, oh, these people are Americans, they're citizens. Like, no, they're not. Like, no, they're not. Stop it. President Donald Trump said on Thursday, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on, trying to get them back in legally. So it gives you real incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. It remains to be seen whether the administration will work toward expanding the H-2B visa or open more legal pathways for farmers and hospitality workers to remain in the country legally. And that's the story right there. That's the story right there. You say getting them a temporary barcode to track their progress or a QR code. So what will Kamala talking about the he killed the border bill? Exactly. The whole bill, okay, that when he talked about the kill the border, that was because they were trying to backdoor more billions of dollars to Ukraine. That was the bill that the Republicans killed because they didn't want to give any more money to Ukraine, which was, again, as the guy that was caught on tape saying, throwing gold bars off the Titanic. The majority of that money wasn't going to see Ukraine. Remember what Zelensky said? It was like 300 something billion. I ain't seen that. Where y'all get that number from? Like, where y'all? Shoot, I got $500. What y'all mean y'all gave me billions? I got $500 in a Walmart gift card. I know I'm being facetious, but you know what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he hardly didn't get any of that money. But you know, whoops. Ratchet Jazzy, she swear up and down that, you know, this is what's going on. So staying on train with her. What is this? This is her. GOP pushes false narrative of sanctuary cities harboring criminals. Yeah, like we literally had the mayor of New York, Denver, Chicago, and Boston sitting there in the halls of Congress like last month. Tom Homan is seizing gang members from New York, Colorado, Chicago, and Boston. So yeah, sanctuary cities are harboring criminals. But let's hear what this stupid chick has to say.
Should be deleted, or maybe just defunding the African American Museum. The list kind of goes on and on and on, but I am not here to talk about why they are racist. I am here to talk about some other things as it relates to immigration. So let's get to that. You know, it's interesting because we got all these theories. I don't know why we put up with getting data and facts if we just gonna sit here and talk about how we feel. So, you know, maybe we can inject some facts into these feelings. I'm not really sure. But as somebody who has actually practiced criminal defense, I don't know if there's anybody else in here who has. I can tell you.
By the way, she was an ambulance chaser down there in Texas. She is a BLM lawyer. BLM lawyer. She was an ambulance chaser. You know, one of them lawyers that's got an office in a rundown strip mall with a closed down grocery store that's not there, that's done moved away. Maybe you got 6 stores out of 20. You know, 6 of them are still in operation. Anyway, yeah, she was one of them type of lawyers.
You that I have handled thousands of cases, not hundreds of cases, thousands on the state level,
you
in
did
Texas,
not handle
Arkansas,
thousands
and
of
the
cases.
Federal level. And I can tell you that, you know what? If I had to look at the vast majority of the cases that I was representing criminal defendants on, the vast majority of them just didn't happen to be immigrants. These are just the facts of my experience, and maybe the immigrants went to somebody else. I don't know, but I can tell you in my actual experience in real life, in reality, and not in this fallacy world that y'all are making up where you hate on everybody. So
what
my
is he
Republican
talking
colleagues
about?
are here using today to continue pushing this false narrative of sanctuary cities harboring criminals. Yet right here in DC, we have a 34-count felon being harbored in the White House. The hypocrisy coming from your side of the aisle over concerns regarding lawlessness is out.
What are the list of 34 counts? What are they? You know, since you want to, call yourself trying to throw a zinger. List the 34 counts. List them all. Come on. We're gonna extend you. We're gonna give you 20 minutes. Set the clock for 20 minutes. Go ahead. List the 34 counts right now. Huh? I don't. Well, I'm sorry. What? I mean, you want to throw out ad hominem attacks like you're not talking about the president of the United States and calling him a felon. But so we're asking you, what are the counts? Back it up. Back up your rhetoric. Moron.
Outrageous. Right now, House Republicans are conducting town halls with constituents lying about our legal system. That, quote, there is no due process if you come here illegally because you violated the law. That immigrants, quote, are not entitled to due process. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that. We all want to live in a country where we respect the law. So, I'm a bit surprised that Republicans aren't up in arms with Trump detaining and deporting U.S. citizens and people who are lawfully present here in the United States. What Trump and ICE are doing is a disgrace, and it's all being done without respect for our laws. For example, Mr. Neri Alvarado, a Dallas-based baker, was arrested and deported to El Salvador prison for having an autism awareness tattoo in honor of his 15-year-old autistic brother. This was done despite never having been to El Salvador, despite having no gang affiliation, and despite having no organized crime connection. He was deported because ICE agents have been detaining, quote, all Venezuelans with tattoos. And to be clear, this type of racial profiling isn't just a one-off. In fact,
come to find out the guy he was affiliated, but at the same time, he's also illegal. He's illegal. And again, I'll say this again. When you have people who were caught up in these sweeps and they get deported, it's because they're illegal. And the only reason why you got caught up in the sweep is because you had contact with one of these gang members. So you just got caught up in the sweep, bruh. And by the way, El Salvador, they're housing these people. They're housing these people. So while she wants to sit here and, of course, give us half-truths,
ACLU, using DHS's own data, mind you, found that at least 65% of the states and local agencies voluntarily working with ICE have records of racial profiling and civil rights violations.
Matter of fact, let me see.
Mr. Franklin, first of all, and Sheriff, let me thank you for your service too, because I appreciate law enforcement. I just want to put that out there. But Mr. Franklin, Major Franklin, you're a decorated law enforcement officer. Yes or no, in your experience, does racially profiling people make communities safer?
No.
And yes or no, does ICE forcing state or local law enforcement to detain people make communities safer?
No.
You know, it's interesting because we've already, and we're gonna, do Groundhog's Day a couple of times, seemingly here.
Thank you.
Actually, let me give you the facts real quick before I go to that.
Yeah,
in fact, a report for the American Immigration Council found that cities that didn't enforce ICE detainers have 35.5% lower crime rates, 2.3% lower poverty rates, and rely less on public assistance, including 4.9% less for children under 18. And I do want to be clear right now.
Those stats are bogus because they underreport them on purpose. They underreport them on purpose, especially the crime statistics. They drop felonies down to misdemeanors. We all know this. Come on. We've been talking about this for the past 3-4 years.
Now, ICE is trying to work with the IRS because we actually take in billions of dollars because of immigrants in this country, and now they're going to
actually the billions of dollars that we take in from illegals who work jobs is I think it's 1% of what we take in from taxpayers, on the national scale. It's not even a drop in the bucket. It's like Eddie Murphy was saying, you know, now we got $1,070,000. Like, what is your $70 gonna do? You can keep that.
Try to get them out. And I'm going to tell you that the biggest issue that we have, I really don't think this should be a partisan issue. So I'm going to agree with my Republican colleagues. I think that we all should want to be.
I think they cut her mic. Oh no, that was the end of that.
If in our communities, the problem that we have is that we have an incompetent administration, that everything that they touch turns to shit. Because what they do is they take a wide sweeping brush and they have decided that the enemy is now going to be immigrants instead of taking a scalpel. That's all we're asking, is to be exact in what you're doing instead of taking a sledgehammer to everything. Thank you, and I will yield.
There we go. There's the right music.
Democrats keep using the phrase constitutional crisis, but the real constitutional crisis is sanctuary city mayors, DAs, and judges who are defying federal law and preventing the president from doing the job that he was elected to do by the American people. It is the job of the federal government to—
By the way, this is immediately, because here she is right here. This is immediately after she just got finished, sister girling.
Keep Americans safe. When violent gangs are taking over American cities like Chicago, that is an invading army. When you can't live peacefully in an apartment in Colorado, that is also an invading army. No judge, DA, or liberal mayor should be able to usurp the power of our commander-in-chief, who was elected by 77 million Americans, and now the Supreme Court agrees. Since the Democrats do not like the result of the election, you would think that they will be focusing on the midterms coming up, but instead they are engaging in a judicial coup d'etat. The reason they are not focused on the midterms is because they are not confident that they can take back control of the House of Representatives in 2 years, because they have no leader and they have no valid message. The Democrat Party has a 21% approval rating with voters in this country. And why? Because their only message is Trump is bad. They've gone so far as to attack people for driving electric vehicles. They openly admit that they are DEI hires, and they claim that the reason they're not popular with voters right now is because they are not opposing Trump enough. That's the reaction to their failure. Their solution is to become more extreme and more unpopular with their policies. This question must be asked: does the Democrat Party hate President Trump more than they love our country and more than they love the safety of my fellow Americans? This might explain why they are willing to overtly defend members of Trinidad MS-13 rather than stand up and clap for a child with a terminal brain cancer illness, or for a young man admitted to West Point, my alma mater, or for a family of the gentleman who was murdered in Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's a real thing. And sanctuary policies are harming my fellow Americans, as my witnesses have testified here today. This U.S. congressman is tired of seeing mothers, daughters, and wives of Americans raped, maimed, and murdered by Trinidad and MS-13 and other violent criminals that have snuck across the border to destroy this great nation. All of us should support ICE raids, the hard work of Tom Homan, Customs and Border Protection, and the policies of our duly elected Commander-in-Chief.
Wait, say what? You say Roland Martin trying to sabotage Carmelo? And look, this case will not be tried. That whole situation with the black kid that killed the white kid will not be tried on social media. It's not like they're going to call in black folks and white folks like us who do these commentaries and have us sit as judge and jury. No. Like that is not what's going to happen. That kid is going to jail flat out. He brought a weapon onto school grounds. He was in the wrong spot where he shouldn't have been. He armed himself with it, premeditated, told the guy to touch him. His life was not in danger. So then he stabbed the guy, ran, even threw the knife, hid it, trying to get away. There is no self-defense. There's nobody there that said that he was defending himself. Nobody. Like, that case is so silly. But this is what I'm talking about. Everybody's so caught up in race thinking, especially black folks. I mean, what are you trying to tell me? You trying to tell me that the kid should get off because he black? Is that what you telling me? Because of what? Slavery? So therefore he shouldn't go to jail for murdering somebody? Good Lord. I'm not yelling at y'all. I'm just saying the ideology of oh God.
Ms. Carter Walters, thank you for being here, ma'am. I really appreciate your testimony earlier and your experience specifically in Chicago. Are communities of color disproportionately impacted by illegal migrants getting special privileges? And if so, how?
Yes, so they are placed in our communities. They are not placed anywhere else but in our communities. And they are taking over our schools. So whereas you already had overcrowded schooling, so you might have 20 to 1 class. Now you have 40 to 1 class, and then they don't speak English. So now that's taken away from the child already who is already in an overcrowded classroom. And then you have where now we can't even, they took over our parks. So where you'll have grandmoms and things, kids, to keep the kids off the street, they house illegals into the field houses. So they took over our field houses. And then now apartments, whereas because our mayor is paying so much money for illegals to house them, now we have tenants that can't even, the landlords that won't even rent to American citizens because they're renting to illegals because they get paid more for illegals.
Now, let me ask you the next question, ma'am. You've been black for a pretty long time, right?
Yes.
So me too. I mean, I've been black for my entire life, so just want to acknowledge that. So by basically what you're saying, do you view yourself as a different American, or do you just care about the safety of our community? Are you a racist for feeling this way?
No.
Thank you very much. And Sheriff Wagner, thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate all you've done for this great country. You've been a hostage negotiator, detective, a patrol sergeant, and sheriff. Your accolades are unbelievable. My question for you is this: what are the Democrats in your state doing to prevent you from doing your job? And do you expect more of this, or are you not allowed to enforce the law?
It's come down to I'm not allowed to or else. And that's really what we're faced with. We have an attorney general that is going by his marching orders, whatever you want to call it, and coming after our little agency to serve as a message to the rest of the state of Washington. And if you look behind me, that's why these sheriffs are here today. They all feel the heat. They feel the situation is bearing down on us. We're only 39 sheriffs in our state, and our state needs sheriffs, believe it or not. But they keep trying the attack constantly.
Thank you. And as somebody that has worn the uniform, I understand the importance of leadership, and it starts at the top. Thank you so much for what you've done for our great nation.
Has expired.
Thank you.
That's why I forget her name, the chick in Florida. Yeah, I got my cheat sheet here. I can't even see. The Hispanic chick. I know. I'm trying to make sure I get these. Not Christy Noam. She's not on here, but because that's the cabinet. But she's a senator out there in Florida, or a congresswoman. She wanted to press charges on the mayor of Denver, the mayor of Boston, the mayor of Chicago, and of course Eric Adams. But Eric Adams is getting that pass. But the other three, she put up articles for them to be investigated for harboring criminals. She wanted charges pressed on them. She sent those articles to Pam Bondi, where they sit with it. No, not Pam Bondi. You like her Chicago red? Oh yeah. I stepped away. Did someone say have you Pam Bondi? No, dang, I forget that woman's name. Hold on. Anna Polina. That's her name. Anna Polina. Let me show y'all who she is. This chick right here. Cute little chick. Yeah. Anna Polina Luna. She wanted to press charges on them. For harboring fugitives. Ain't that crazy? But that's why. Because they're not letting them do their jobs. I know I'm all over the place today. I need to get it together. All right, so let's get on to the next video. Oh yeah, let's check in on the quote unquote squad of stupid women up there in Congress. Let's see what Ilhan Omar.
Lady, recognize for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, the brother banger, Miss Bang Bro, the original Bang Bro. So she's saying, because she rallied against the proposed GOP budget cuts, it's about betraying the working people. As Trump calls it, the one big beautiful bill, where come tax time next year, anybody making under 150K won't have to pay taxes. Yeah, it's betraying the working people. I get the feeling probably this time next year she won't be in office, if she's even in the country, but we'll see.
Budget resolution isn't about fiscal responsibility. It's about enriching the ultra wealthy and betraying working people. It's about gutting Medicaid and SNAP so that the rich can continue to hoard more tax breaks. These cuts do not make our country stronger. They make it sicker, hungrier, and more unfair.
How?
But this time, Republicans are not even pretending to pay for it. Senate Republicans are rewriting the rules and inventing fake budget math to claim that these tax cuts will not cost us anything.
How?
In truth, they cost the American people $7 trillion in total. All of this is being done to pave the way for a Trump term built on fear, lawlessness, and vengeance.
How?
President Trump is firing public servants, slashing critical programs, and enacting chaotic tariffs that will raise costs. This chaotic administration is trying to drag us into a recession. Instead of stopping it, congressional Republicans are acting as a willing...
How? Because, do understand, the only ones that's really fighting against these cuts are Democrats. And as we've come to find out, every time Doge goes into an office, they find out that these people are using NGOs and whatnot as slush funds. This is why all the cuts are going through. This is why the judge said you got to hire back all of these employees from USAID when there's no funding for their jobs. And Congress was like, SCOTUS, they was like, no. No. And yes, Doge can continue. You notice SCOTUS has not stepped in Doge's way at all because they know what's really going on. Again, they're cutting Medicaid and food assistance for illegals. People that we need as a voting base. With our 21% and dropping. And if what we read about what Trump is saying about, agricultural workers, illegals and whatnot, oh my God, trust me. If they find a way that these people don't have to self-deport and then come back, and they be like, okay, well, here, come get your cards, your work permits and everything till we get you processed into the system. Like Trump said, you'll never have to vote again. You'll never have to vote again. I mean, it already looks like that. There's no Democratic leader. Look, the Democrats are in such a bad shamble. Even Stephen A. Smith was like, "Well, come talk to me in 3 years. Let me see where I'm at." I mean, it's that bad that Stephen A. Smith is actually thinking about possibly running for president on the Democratic ticket because they are just that devoid of leadership. And the funny thing about it is, I said this back in January, if not sooner. I said the only chance the Democrats will have to be taken seriously as far as trying to have a presidential candidate worth talking about that people won't laugh out of the room, because none of these people are better than Kamala, and that's pathetic. You have to somehow convince Vivek Ramaswamy to be a moderate Democrat. You will have to get him to switch parties. If you don't, please. Anyway, let's check in on another 93 or 92 percenter. Must be a
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to welcome to the nation's capital my Secretary of State, Wes Allen. Sir, you mentioned in your testimony that the foundation of election integrity is voter maintenance. And I know that you mentioned that you withdrew Alabama from the ERIC organization and replaced it with AVID, Alabama Voter Integrity Database, to partner with state agencies to identify individuals to purge from the rolls. Last year, you led an effort to clean the rolls in Alabama by directing the Board of Registrar to remove registered voters that were, quote, non-citizen identification number, end quote, by the Department of Homeland Security. Shortly after implementing this purge, a group of civil rights organizations challenged, sir, your voter purging program in court. And do you know, sir, what percentage of voters that you purged were actually U.S. citizens and should be eligible to vote versus not being eligible?
Well, I'm extremely proud of my staff who worked to implement this program. And I will say that it was
93%, 93.8% of the 3,251 voters that were purged from the rolls were actually U.S. citizens and should have been eligible to vote. Federal courts have acknowledged that relying solely on databases like the State Department of Homeland Security, state DMV databases, and the Federal Systemic Alien Verification for Entitlement database can, quote, have a very high rate of inaccuracy. How will you ensure, sir?
Yeah, because you got people with, again, stolen social security numbers. And she didn't even let the guy even answer the question.
First of all, is the voter purge program still ongoing? And how do you ensure that you're actually capturing voters that should be ineligible?
Well, I will say that our staff is working extremely hard to make sure the voter file maintenance is top of mind each and every day when we come into the office, and we will continue to make sure that only United States citizens are on Alabama voter files.
Yeah, that's the law, that only American citizens can vote. How much did it cost to defend that program in court? Do you know? How much money did you guys spend?
I don't have that number. But
well, all I can say is that Alabama taxpayers shouldn't be paying for a program that has shown such a high rate of inaccuracy. And while I totally understand the importance of making sure that every person who is on the voter roll is eligible, I think that there are better ways to do that than voter purging. Mr. Allen, Secretary Allen, you also mentioned in your written testimony that the state...
Actually, when you really look at it, I don't think what they did was wrong. You purged 93% of the people from the voter registry, right? So when it's time for people to come in, because this is what they do. I know they do that here. And tell me if they do this where you guys are at. When it's around voting season or whatnot, they send you voter registration cards. You get those cards in the mail. Or they tell you register online, all of that stuff. But at any rate, because understand, I never registered to vote here in Georgia. But yet, when I walked into the voting area, I gave them my ID, my driver's license. They scanned it, then turned around and gave me my voter sheet and pointed me towards the booth. So, purging 93% of the people off the voting rolls didn't kill the people's ability to vote. If anything, it made people come back in all honesty, automatically re-register to vote in their district, in their area. Because if you're voting in your district, if you go to another, this is like local voting, you go to a different district to vote, they'll tell you this isn't where you vote. You don't vote in this district. They'll tell you, well, you need to go to this schoolhouse. You need to go to this schoolhouse over here on the 5th district. Here's the map. Here's the address. They'll send you to where you need to go. That's when you're voting locally. At least that's what happened to me when I was in Ohio. I'm sorry. Am I wrong? Did I misstate something? If I'm wrong, y'all let me know.
State banned ballot harvesting last year. The state legislature passed an initiative that would criminalize people for assisting others with their absentee ballots. For example, if someone pays their family member to actually take their ballot, to deliver their ballot, that person would be that assistance would be criminally charged. And I'm not sure if that was the intent, but I can tell you that several of my constituents called me in fear of voting absentee because they were afraid of it being rejected for simple reasons like, not being able to provide the ballot themselves, but actually having a family member deliver it. Can you give us assurances that we in Alabama can actually, make it easier for voters to access the ballot box? I mean, we're one of 3 states that don't have early voting, so I think it's really important that we get it right.
Yes, ma'am. The right to vote is sacred, and what that bill did was to protect absentee voting. Paid political activists should not be involved in manipulating the absentee process.
I hear what you're saying, but these are family members who are trying to help their elderly parents actually vote, and they shouldn't be in fear of actually turning in a ballot if they have to borrow money from their mother to actually get to the post office or to get to the.
What are you talking about, lady?
To the agency, to the voting registration.
Yeah,
office.
there's no need
That's
to fear.
not my problem.
We mimic federal law. If anybody's disabled, they can have anybody that they choose to help them with the application. It doesn't pertain to the ballots themselves. It's already illegal in Alabama for anyone to return a ballot for anyone else.
Thank you.
SB 1 specifically talked about the application portion of the absentee ballot process, and it did that. It protected the absentee process.
Well, sir, I think that both of us, given the great history, the amazing history that occurred in our state, we really owe it to every Alabamian to make sure that not only are they eligible to vote, they have access to the ballot box. Having said that, Secretary Thomas, I note that you all passed a state-level Voting Rights Act in 2023. I know I'm about to run out of time. I wanted to ask if she could just answer one question with respect to that.
This chick is boring me.
Can you talk just a little bit about this initiative and how it will make it easier for folks to vote, your new law?
Sure. So the Connecticut Voting Rights Act passed last session to codify some of the elements of the National Voter Rights Act, such as pre-clearance, making sure that materials related to voting were provided in languages and communities that were majority in certain languages. It also provides a great transparency for members of the public. They can access statistics and data about voting in their communities via a GIS system. So in Connecticut anyway, it passed handily, and many
implemented in 2024 election.
Not the Voting Rights Act, other than the language access. But we did implement early voting in 2024.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for indulging me. I also would ask unanimous consent to submit several articles to the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
And of
From
course,
Massachusetts is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Ranking Member Waters. Under your leadership, we have advocated to create an economy that works for all people, not just Elon Musk and wealthy billionaires. That is why I oppose this measure to overturn the Consumer Financial Protection, emphasis on protection, Bureau rule that caps overdraft fees by banks at $5. The work of CFPB has been cost-saving and life-changing, but this bill would undo that progress. Whether it is an elder whose Social Security check was delayed into her direct deposit, likely because of Trump's mass firings, or the young college student who makes the innocent mistake of confusing a savings and a checking account, anyone can be affected by unnecessary junk fees. But let's be honest, it is our most vulnerable who will bear the brunt of the harm. For the single parent who has to pay bills today with money that is coming tomorrow, overdrafting may be their only option. And the exorbitant fees, sometimes $35 for every overdraft, would further push them into debt. It's a shame the Republicans are attacking poor people just to help greedy bank CEOs get richer. The shame and the sham of it all. I oppose this bill and encourage everyone to stand with working people who are struggling to make every single dollar stretch because of your
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
the bill passed, by the way. Be more responsible with your freaking money. Stop stealing from the bank. You had that whole, what was that scam? She sounded like a darker Wendy Williams. The dog sips or Kingpin's black side chick. That was funny. God damn, her head is cleaner than mine. She must use one of those old automatic shoe bumpers to get that gloss. Where are my shades? What's up, love boy? Not this Mrs. Potato Head. This is what happens when them chicks be using all that relaxers and stuff. What was that? Remember the whole, was it Citibank or whatnot, where the people were overdrafting? They were putting in these bad checks and taking out half of the money or whatnot. They were robbing the banks, putting their accounts thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars in the hole. Like, these people were committing crimes. Wells Fargo, it was Wells Fargo. These people were committing crimes. Now, you go to jail for that. You do know that, right? Because you're intentionally committing fraud. You're intentionally committing fraud. And what is it? Anything over what? $5,000 is considered a felony? Anyway, let's get back to, all right. I've been wanting to get on this. Because look, what we're about to do next is what I call a Scott Jennings special. And I will say this show, CNN just needs to just stop playing and give Scott Jennings his own show at the 8 o'clock time slot, because this man he is a murderer. Let's get to it. Scotty and the stupid knots. Scotty and the liquids. We'll call them that. Who loves you, kid? You gave her the telly survival.
The executive order here's what it says about Chris Krebs. Krebs, through CISA, falsely and baselessly denied that the 2020 election was rigged and stolen. That is in a presidential executive order, almost as if Bigfoot was real. What is going on?
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be with you. I think this is probably one of the most dangerous things that we've seen from him. Now, we've seen a lot of craziness and But this is now taking the department and completely weaponizing against two people who just disagreed with him. One who told the truth and was involved as a witness in the congressional inquiry, and then somebody else who has said some things about him. The problem is we're back to now what he complained about throughout the campaign and his presidency, and that was that the Justice Department had somehow been weaponized. And now you see him essentially given a mandate and a directive by way of this presidential order to the department to move forward.
He signed 2 executive orders ordering investigations, weaponizing his Justice Department against people who just disagree with him. How do you justify that?
I mean, look, politically, my advice to the president on this one would be continue to focus on strengthening the economy. You got to figure out a way to bring down cost. Keep doing what you're doing as it pertains to immigration. We need to increase chip manufacturing within the United States. There are several political things that I think that he needs to do.
All right.
How many seconds do you think he got to talk before the cackling hens, them 3 females, started interrupting him? And you see the white guy here laughing because he like, damn, like he didn't even finish saying what he had to say. What's up, Simeon? Oh, wow. So, I mean, the dude didn't even hardly get a chance to say what he was saying. But he was saying, she asked him a question, and he said that he felt, because this guy, to me, him and Scott Jennings, they're on the same team. All right? I'm not going to call him the Black Scott Jennings. This guy has his own identity. I think his name was Shermichael Singleton. Yeah, this guy, I've seen him a couple of times on this show. This brother can hold his own right along with Scott, except he doesn't do the jabs like Scott does. He said, a couple of mimosas. Y'all are silly. But he was pretty much saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong. Okay. Yeah, this is Shermichael Singleton. He was pretty much saying, yeah, like if I was Trump, I wouldn't worry about the election. I would focus on what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. They cut him off because he's not saying it the way that they want him to say it. Watch.
All right, hold on. Okay. All right, Chair Michael, I get it. Yes, he should focus on the economy.
Yeah, he should.
But what do you think about the fact that he's targeting his political enemies, using executive orders and telling his Justice Department?
But we are focused on it, Chair Michael, and you just said, but Chair Michael,
can I answer?
But you haven't answered. But you have not answered.
I did answer.
Now, y'all remember Tiffany Cross, right? Y'all remember Tiffany Cross? She was, Joy Reid wound up, quote unquote, replacing her as the primetime black woman on that little garbage show of theirs, garbage network of theirs. Remember, she was the one that told us black men's that we need to not listen to the Tariq Nasheeds and the Jason Blacks, and we need to get behind goofy black women, and do as they say. Y'all remember that? That's why I couldn't wait to get this. I couldn't wait to do this. We got 3 of them. So, first and foremost, check your lipstick with that jacket is not popping. It's not popping. But I get it. You got the purple top on. You wearing the green and purple. But you look like what you are, a whole ass clown. Anyway.
So I just didn't answer the way you wanted me to answer. You don't get to dictate my... But you have not answered. But
I did answer. I just didn't answer the way you wanted me to answer. You don't get to dictate my comments to my response on this show.
Your comments are not directed to the issue. The very
yes, they were,
question
because
that
my
she
response
asked.
was
And furthermore,
the focus should be
on this
the last
hang on a second.
about this not being in the third
Tiffany.
You hear him G-check her? Like, you don't tell me how to respond. Like, this ain't your show. And she yippee, she 92%. She straight up being a liquid. But let's go.
Tiffany, 1 second.
Go ahead, Tiffany. Go ahead.
I mean, listen, Chair Michael, you're a friend of the show. You're my friend. Please answer the question.
I answered
mean,
the question the way I want.
no,
nobody's going to dictate the way I answer questions on this show. You may not like the way I answered the question, but I gave an answer. No, I don't like that. We're not going to do dictating reply the way I want you to reply. Then just don't ask me a question if you don't like my response. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Sure, Michael, you don't get to.
Do we not live in a democracy now? I mean, we talked a lot about a democracy tonight.
You don't get to just change the subject to avoid having to say something that might be perceived as negative about Donald Trump.
No, Abby, you just didn't like my answer to your question.
Well, that's what it seems like. If you were a politician, a regular person on the street would say, well, that sounds like spin to me.
No, you asked a question.
Because it does sound
and
like
my response to your question was, instead of doing this, the president should be focused on X, Y, and Z. That is an answer to the question.
He's right. That's an answer to the question. Y'all just didn't like what he said because y'all want him to say what y'all are thinking. But he did say what y'all were thinking. He just said it in a diplomatic, intellectual way. You can tell that he got the best of his education. Whatever school, whatever college he went to, you can tell he studied. He was a book dude. I mean, he's a Republican strategist. He's speaking like a Republican strategist, not somebody who is a DEI hire. And they can't stand it. Because do understand, I guarantee you, both Abby and Tiffany Cross look at him as a quote-unquote sellout. You're an Uncle Tom. How is you, as a black man, how are you a Republican? Like, because I'm not a moron listening to cackling hens like y'all. I'm not for illegal immigration, protecting murderers, rapists, and drug dealers. I'm not for transitioning kids, trying to brainwash them into sterilizing themselves and getting their sex organs chopped off. I'm not into that. I'm definitely not into some 92%er running my household. The hell out of here. Have you seen yourselves lately? These will be the same chicks. If he's married to a white woman, they'll slander him about it, but yet they wanted us to vote for Kamala because she's a blackish woman married to some white dude. Anyway.
When I said this is why it's so dangerous, and this is an example of why it's so dangerous, and that is because nobody wants to speak out against it. You know, we've been waiting for Republicans, whether it be in Congress or wherever they are, to come up and actually say that we're not going to let Trump's power go unchecked. And when he does something wrong, something illegal, something outside the bounds of the history and the department, they sit quiet.
Is it illegal? Do you believe what he did is illegal?
Absolutely.
Why is it illegal?
If you read the Justice Department manual, one of the things it talks about, actually, there's a whole section on whether or not the White House can have direction or communication for a prosecution. That's in there today. Frankly, I'm surprised they didn't scrub it yet, but it's actually in there. They're not allowed to do that. The reason is because you have to keep the department to be completely nonpartisan. That's the charging decision.
You don't think that the head of the executive branch can have law enforcement priorities?
I think when you call and say go after a political enemy, that's illegal and wrong. And I think and the tide always turns and the pendulum swings here. When the Democrats are back in the White House, I imagine the Republicans are going to scream bloody murder if the Democratic president, calls the department and says, go after, let's go after the Trump kids and see what happens.
But you've already done, y'all did that back in 2020, 2021. The Democrats, Fonnie Willis, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg. I'm sorry, Bragg and James ran on the mandate of trying to throw Trump in prison. That's why when you ask them the 34 felonies, well, name them. And the first thing they'll say is, oh, he raped a woman. Like, yeah, okay, say that live on the air. Didn't they just settle a $15 million lawsuit? I think Wolf Blitzer called Trump a rapist, and he sued him, and he won because he didn't get convicted of rape. defamation of character. I think they now have a $50 million, one of these networks, MSNBC, I believe, they got a $50 million lawsuit that they have to deal with, or is it CBS? One of them, because of the lies that they tell on their networks. That's why you had not Anna Navarro, but that's why you had Sonny Holston on The View, 7, 8, 9 times just this year alone, reading legal notes because they were lying about people on the Republican Party. Fonnie Willis is looking to either cough up money or go to prison because she went after Trump illegally. Letitia James, still out here yapping. Trust me, honey, they're going to get to you. You're small fish. Wait until they start going after these Democrats who've been slush funding our taxpayer dollars through these NGOs and through USA, whatnot. Wait till they start going after them. You want to talk about going after the political enemies? You as a Democratic Party tried to kill that man. You tried to set him up to be murdered on 3 separate occasions. How dare you have the audacity to sit here and say, well, he's going after his political enemies, as if your hands are clean.
Curious, are you suggesting that you don't think that it's wrong to go after political enemies?
Here's what I think. I think the security clearance, let me just address the order.
I'm going to have to do the same thing I just did to Shermichael, in fairness to my friend over there. Because my question to you was, do you think that it is right or wrong to go after, for the president to use the Justice Department to go after his political enemies?
I think it is fine for the president to express law enforcement priorities. I think that the Department of Justice should exercise the same judgment that they would exercise on anyone else as it relates to whether someone should be criminally investigated. But here's what I believe about the order in total. The security clearances, fine. There's far too many people with security clearances. I don't have a problem when they take them away. Reviewing access and dissemination of information, perfectly fine, because we do know some oversteps occurred. Looking at whether the government was involved in censorship, which we know they were, perfectly fine. But I think
he's talking about censorship
of his lie.
He's alleging. Hold on, Scott.
Related to COVID.
He is alleging that CISA censored his lie that the election was stolen. It is not.
It's
true
not a lie.
That the election was stolen. Chris Krebs told the truth, and now he's being targeted by the government with an executive order.
Right.
I guess
it's not a lie. Biden got over 80 million popular votes in Pennsylvania after the polling had closed in mail-in ballots. I mean, he didn't get 80 million but the mail-in ballots that came in Pennsylvania after the polling was closed put him at 80 million of popular votes. That's more popular votes than any presidential candidate in history. We covered this yesterday. It'll be a cold day in hell before something like that ever happens again. I think Obama got 73? The hell out of here. Who are you kidding? Nobody loved Joe Biden like that. What are you trying to tell me? That in Pennsylvania, the white people in Pennsylvania, when he said, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, you telling me the white people in Pennsylvania, I'm definitely gonna vote for him. Trump had won Pennsylvania. Then a flood of mysterious mail-in ballots came in. You had 30,000 votes disappear down here in Georgia. The sprinkler alarms went off in the voting room. After it was all said and done, suddenly Biden was in the lead. Then what? I think about a year or so ago, they found that 30,000 votes were missing. This is why Bonnie Willis called herself trying to prosecute Trump on election interference. Like, hold on, wait a minute, chick. You got votes missing. Where are the votes?
Shouldn't be, I don't think it should be hard to just say, this is not what the government should be doing. This is not what the president should be doing. Because if the shoe, to Michael's point, were on the other foot, as you claimed that it was, you thought that was a huge scandal.
Again, I think I think the president should be able to express his views about these issues, but I think the Department of Justice ought to exercise the same judgment that it would use on any other kind of investigation. Now, what these guys did and whether it deserves a criminal investigation, I don't know. You're a lawyer, I'm not. But I do know this, that like in the case of Miles Taylor, was working in the government anonymously, obviously disseminating information publicly that he should not have been doing.
Like what?
Well, I mean, he was anonymously writing pieces for the New York Times and stating publicly that he was trying to undermine the government of the United States that he was supposedly working for.
What did he disseminate that he was legally not allowed to disseminate?
Great thing to find out. He was a high-ranking position at the Department of Homeland Security.
He wrote an op-ed.
What did he have access to? I don't know. What did he disseminate to people you don't know about?
He wrote an op-ed and he wrote a book. So what's the allegation?
I think anybody who held a high-ranking position in a Homeland Security department like he did, we know what they did publicly. I'd love to know what he did privately.
They're not allowed. They're not.
Truth of the matter is, nobody's read the book. Truth of the matter is, nobody's read the book. Nobody's read the book. But from the understanding is that from the position that he was in, he was not in position to write the book because of sensitive information that he was privy to. Security clearances, all that stuff. That's almost like if you are a manager at your job, you have access to things that the hourlies don't, whatnot, privy to certain conversations and everything. And then you turn around and write a book about the things that you heard, conversations you were a part of, secret deals and dealings and everything. I mean, did they or did they not just arrest an FBI agent, less than 3 weeks ago? That was Xeroxing top secret documents and all of this stuff and sharing that he was going to write a book with his colleagues. And they caught him at JFK getting ready to catch a plane out of the country to go write a book. Yeah, she got Scott on that. He don't know what's in the book because nobody's read the book. The excerpts of the book have not been, at the time of this recording, had not been released yet. And the Department of Justice, the president has every right to have the Department of Justice do a probe, not into ex-aides who criticized him, but into election interference. How in the hell did this dude get 80 million votes? Like Jibba said, 100,000 just popped up out of nowhere in a room somewhere that won him Pennsylvania when Trump had already won it when the polls had closed. Then suddenly, boop, mail-in ballots that were probably already sitting in there. That needs to be investigated. That needs to be investigated.
Not allowed to talk about their experiences when they leave government? Is that what you're saying?
If nothing comes of it, then nothing comes of it. But as the American people and as the president, we have a right to know. You don't just sit there and just let it roll. The thing about it is that you don't want egg on your face. That's all.
Justin.
I'm saying that he clearly used his position to try to undermine the sitting president of the United States when he had it. I know what he did publicly now. I don't know what he did privately.
Okay,
I think it's worthy of investigation.
I mean, the best way to, I know sometimes my analogies suck, But the best way to describe it is if, the teacher is calling you, at least maybe once a week, talking about your kids not turning in their homework, and then they're hiding their assignments. You just happen to be going through their bag and you see a paper with C's and D's on it and everything. Like, what is this? Blase, blase. And then all of a sudden, here comes the report card, and suspiciously, they have A's, B's, and C's that look like F's and D's have been, reformatted with an ink pen. You mean to tell me that as a parent, you're not going to call up the teacher and be like, hey, look, what was their grade in Spanish? Really? Oh, here it says you gave them a B. What about math? In F, this looks like an A, weird A. You know what I'm saying? The A almost looked like an H with a roof on it. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. You can probe. It's okay. Let's get on to the next one. Oh, we got two more of these.
How concerned are you about the chain of events here? Donald Trump, truth socialing at 9:37 a.m. This is a great time to buy DJT, which is the ticker for his company. And then later in the afternoon, lifting the pause and everything skyrockets. There was a lot of other activity going on in the markets that people are concerned about. What do you think?
We know from what we've heard today that there was a meeting this morning between Bessent, Lutnick and the president. The president admitted this in the Oval Office when he said they talked about it. We wrote the statement. It was a beautiful thing. It came from the heart. And then you get this tweet or whatever you want to call it on social to tell people this is a good time to buy, whether it's DJT as a ticker or DJT as in his initials, which he doesn't use very often, by the way, in his posts. If to say this is a good time to buy and then take a decision that you pretty much know is going to rally the market, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
I mean, what is it? Tinkering with the markets?
I hope not.
Allowing for insider, because anybody that was privy to that conversation or knew what was happening could have taken that information and done something with it.
Anybody who
Well, let's take a look at the DJT stock. This is where we're sitting with it. This is the 5-day. This is the 5-day. So I guess they're talking about what? Tuesday? Shot up, shot up, shot up, shot up. And now, of course, as of Wednesday, it just started dropping and then it leveled off. It's now at its level, okay? At what? Less than $20 a share. Less than $20 a share. Just because he says buy it doesn't mean you have to buy it. People chose to buy it. You also see what? Also Tuesday, NVIDIA shot up. They also shot up and then leveled off. Leveled off what? On Thursday. So NVIDIA did that. Let's see. What else? Let's see. What am I thinking? Apple. They also shot up Tuesday. See that? Tuesday. See, they shot up and then they leveled. I mean, they're playing around, but you see 5-day. 5-day. Let's see. Amazon. Let's see if they shot up Tuesday too. Oh, wow. Look, they shot up. Let's see. They shot up a little bit Tuesday, but they really took off Wednesday. And then they leveled off. I wonder if Microsoft did the same thing. Let's see. Tuesday shot up. Yeah, because by then, all the stocks, everything had pretty much found its footing. Let me see what's going on with US Steel. Let me see. Hold on. Let me check. How you doing? See, 5-day. Yeah. So they shot up too, and then they leveled off. Everybody was shooting up over the past 5 days. So them trying to say that, oh, he, uh-oh. Them saying, oh, TJ, you say check TJ Maxx? All right, hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on. Hold on, wait a minute. All right, so TJ Maxx. Let's see here. Can I do the 5-day? Let me see. Oh, here we go. 1 day, 5-day. Okay, let's check 5-day. Tuesday, day 2. As you can see, shot up Tuesday. Y'all see that? Yeah. Qualcomm and Tencent. Okay, Tencent. All right, hold on. Let's see. Where's the search? Okay. Y'all got me doing this. Stocks. Okay. Dates. This it? 5-day. They shot up a little bit Tuesday. Wow, they bottomed Wednesday, but they shot back up. What? Wednesday and then Thursday. As you can see, they're doing all right. What was the other one? I'm not about to do all of this. 10 cent. All right. Which one of these? 10 cent holdings? Let's see. All right, let's do the 5-day. Yep, they shot up Tuesday right here. You see it. See the graph. They shot up Tuesday, bottomed out Wednesday, and then back up and doing the whole stock roller coaster thing, if that's the right one. So for them to sit here and say, oh, you guys are welcome. He got them raggedy teeth halfway fixed. He must be from Britain. You guys are welcome. No, but so for them to say that he was doing insiding, oh, okay, they make chips. Okay. For them to say that he was doing insider trading, how is it insider trading if everybody's stock shot up? Everybody's stock shot up. But let's play the liquid game. Right, because do understand them first stocks I checked, those were the stocks I bought because Trump, when he sat there and had those press conferences, we was talking about energy and who was getting deals, government contracts and all that stuff. I mean, there are other stocks, but those were the 3 big ones, even the Tesla. You know, Tesla is Tesla. But it's like, yo, I'm buying these stocks. And anybody that bought any type of stocks that y'all guys saw, it seems like Tuesday, the market rebounded. And of course, he probably knew that. So he, insider trading is when you know something is about to hit and you pass it along to your buddies in hush hush quietness. But telling the whole world, now is the time to buy, not buy a personal stock or any other stock, but just now is the time to buy. And us as the American people who were quote unquote not multimillionaires or anything, who trying to make a little bread, all right, because we're not basketball players, we're not entertainers, and we don't create anything, you know what I'm saying? As far as you just being a basic 9-to-5 regular Joe, because a lot of us are, the only way you're going to secure any type of financial security for yourself, you either have to a life insurance policy or you have to be smart in the stock market. You got to be smart. You got to dump your pennies. It's basically you're gambling on corporations. That's all it is. It's another form of gambling. Instead of gambling on a football team or a basketball team or something like that, you're gambling on corporations to make you money. That's all it really is. You're just gambling. You're taking the risk. Corporations do that with your 401k. You know how they sit up here and say, well, you put in $40 and we'll match your $40. And then if you really, and you get them letters in the mail from these weird companies, and you might open one up because you're like, what is this? And then they'll give you a breakdown of where all your little $80 in, all the little companies, we put 80 cents here and $2 here and 46 cents here. And it's a list of all these corporations or whatnot. You're like, what the hell is it? And you throw it away? Yeah, because they've taken your 401k and put it in the stock market. This is why they were tripping. The Democrats were tripping about people's 401k, like because it's in the stock market. Yeah. So even though you personally aren't doing it, your job is doing it with your 401k. I can think corporations, remember that video, the black guy tripped out because he'd been working this job for 30 years and he wasn't going to get a pension? Yeah, because the stocks bottomed out thanks to Biden. Yeah, everybody's pension was lost. Your 401k was gone. They gambled and lost. This is your chance to gamble and win. Ooh. Say mutual stock 401s rebounded after the tariff dip. Thank you. Oh, is the audio off for me or for the video? What's up, Chance? Most folks don't have a $400 liquid. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me refresh this. Yeah. Can y'all hear that? Yeah. What's going on here? Go back. There we go. Okay. All right. Can y'all hear that? Oh, okay. Y'all can hear it now? All right. Because I know I got a weird message up top. I'm like, well, what are they talking about? I think it was that stock thing. It threw everything off. But yeah, but that's what happens with your 401k. They gamble with it. But let's get on with this. Damn it. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can change it. Maybe I can change windows. Let me see. All right. Okay, hold on. Share this tab. You go on StreamYard. Go back. All right. All right, can y'all hear it now? Do you hear it now? Just type 1. Damn it. Wait a minute. Hold on. There's something going on with StreamYard. Hold on. Let me see. Settings. Audio. Okay. Damn it. I hate the. All right, hold on. All right, let me try something here. All right, so let me. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. Let me kill the window. All right, hold on. Let me bring it back up. Let's see, share screen. Okay.
You are the person who is about to take a decision that is going to
All right, can y'all hear that now?
Things like this, when most presidents know that they have the power to move markets, they tread carefully. Trump is not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he is radically transparent. Everything that is on his mind, he tends to either put out in front of the press in the Oval Office or out on his social media. I don't think today's commentary is any different than he operates on any other day, and I think it's...
All right, so let me back it up. It's a short segment. Let me back it up. All right. So with all the information I put forward, I'm gonna let it play.
How concerned are you about the chain of events here? Donald Trump truth socialing at 9:37 a.m. This is a great time to buy DJT, which is the ticker for his company. And then later in the afternoon, lifting the pause and everything skyrockets. There was a lot of other activity going on in the markets that people are concerned about. What do you think?
We know from what we've heard today that there was a meeting this morning between Bessent, Lutnick and the president. The president admitted this in the Oval Office when he said they talked about it. We wrote the statement. It was a beautiful thing. It came from the heart. And then you get this tweet or whatever you want to call it on social to tell people this is a good time to buy, whether it's DJT as a ticker or DJT as in his initials, which he doesn't use very often, by the way, in his posts. If to say this is a good time to buy and then take a decision that you pretty much know is going to rally the market, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
I mean, what is it? Tinkering with the markets,
I hope not.
Allowing for insider, because anybody that was privy to that conversation or knew what was happening could have taken that information and done something with it.
Anybody who read that tweet,
like Bob,
that social and had an inkling of what he might do or anything like that, it's just you don't do it. It's as simple as that. You don't tell people now is a good time to buy if you are the person who is about to take a decision that is going to make the market rally.
Why is he doing things like this when most presidents know that they have the power to move markets? They tread carefully. Trump is not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he is radically transparent. Everything that is on his mind, he tends to either put out in front of the press in the Oval Office or out on his social media. I don't think today's commentary is any different than he operates on any other day, and I think it's been true for time immemorial that when a president speaks, however they speak, markets do move, and
because
that's
he's
not
doing-
the first time it's ever
Do you
happened.
think it's appropriate for the President of the United States, knowing he's about to take a decision that is going to buoy the market, to actually put out a social posting saying now is a good time to buy? And anybody who might know his thinking on these issues might say, hey, I hope he's going to do so. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Tiffany?
But because he's doing something unethical and he's doing it before the American people, that doesn't make it right. He doesn't get to wear that as a badge of honor.
Look at Scott. Scott's face be killing me. Whenever he has to listen to somebody that's stupid, the faces that he makes, I'm gonna bang it up. Look, watch his face. Because understand, Tiffany Cross has no idea what the hell she's talking about. This guy right here, this is a money guy. That's why he's on the segment. You see, they got rid of the fat dude and they brought him in. They just changed one person. All right. And they don't know nothing about stocks. He probably doesn't know anything about, I'm just saying. Scott, he worked in the White House. He has knowledge of stocks, how things work, how things are, you know. If y'all didn't know, he used to work in the White House. He used to be fat. Scott used to be a fat, porky pig son of a... But Tiffany, you know this chick doesn't know a good goddamn nothing thing. I know I'm getting ghetto with it, but you know she don't know nothing about stocks. So Abby set her up to sound stupid. But watch Scott's face while she's talking.
For the American people, that doesn't make it right. He doesn't get to wear that as a badge of honor. I also get nervous, respectfully, when we talk about the economy in terms of the market, because I think about the average person at home who is going to the grocery store, figuring out how to pay their mortgage every day. And the economy for them is not whether or not to buy a stock that day. It is how much can I afford to spend at the grocery store. And what this has done is not that these tariffs are going to eventually hit people. They already have. Like, prices have already taken a toll on a lot of people. I did a show today where we were talking about people were paying $60 and $70 more for items and products before these tariffs have come to be. That is what the economy is. Most voters are not carrying stock prices into the voting booth. And so for Donald Trump, the president of the United States, if any other elected official had done this on the other side of the Republican aisle, Scott, I can't imagine that you would be sitting here defending that. Sure, Michael, I can't imagine you would be defending that if a Democratic president was tweeting about now is a great time to participate in the stock market.
I haven't defended what Richard was just talking about, but I do want to go back to the idea of possibly going into a recession, Richard, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I mean, we saw several recessionary factors in the previous administration, Fed hikes, slower growth, et cetera, and we were able to avoid it then. We haven't really seen economic activity constrict thus far. We'll have to see what consumer confidence and spending ultimately is as we go through Q2 of this year. But wouldn't you say it's at least a little premature to be saying we're getting ready to face a recession? And if not, I want to know why, because I don't see the factors there.
I know we've got to...
And you know what? I'm going to give the brother... like I said, he probably didn't know stocks, but clearly he does. He does know about economic growth. So I give the brother his flowers. I personally, I just learned about how to deal with stocks over the past 2 years. Like when the market was falling, I could have cleaned up on, I think they call it the under. I wasn't doing all that because I didn't trust it. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know I was going to bounce back. You had a guy, he lost everything. He went bankrupt because he put all his money on, it was short selling. Shorts, I believe that's what they call it, where he was short selling his Tesla stock, thinking that he was going to make a fortune. But remember when Tesla bounced back? Because when Republicans, when they want to boycott something or put their money behind something, they do it. They literally put their money where their mouth is. Whereas Democrats, liquids, will bitch, moan, whine, and complain online. You'll have the stupid among us go out with a protest sign, but there'll be no change. Just like Al Sharpton taking those senior citizens on the tour through Costco, giving them $25 gift cards, and the people walked out the store and they didn't buy a goddamn thing. They sold those gift cards. They sold them, gave them away, sat on them, whatever. That's a black boycott, a Democratic boycott versus a Republican boycott. Tesla stock shot through the roof. I got in right on time. Boom. Do you want to drop the price on it? Good. Make it more affordable for me. I'll be the cleanup man on some stock now. It worked out just fine. So, everything going on with these tariffs, as we saw Trump put it out there, then he put a pause on it. After the pause, we'll see where everything sits. But by then, in all honesty, like on what, lace fronts? Y'all are stupid. Baby, you had your shot. You ain't getting another show. Exactly. I should start a protest sign business. Good idea, EV. Right. Listen, again, I'm not a stock genius. I'm just exercising my common sense here. Eventually, within the next 3 months, you're going to have all of these corporations that are going to move into the United States. All right. They're going to have their factories built. They're going to have their offices built. It doesn't take that long to do all this stuff. It's 2025. If a Mexican can put up a roof in 30 seconds, what do you think a construction company is going to do? If they can build an oil rig in less than 2.5 months, fully operational, ready to go, a whole oil rig, how long do you think it's going to take them to build a warehouse and an office space? How long do you think it's going to take them to purchase trucks or whatnot from all of these car companies that are now here in America? Where you see where Ford is now, if y'all didn't know, Ford put out a statement. They're selling their cars for the next month or so, the next 3 months or whatever, because they're trying to get rid of their inventory. They're trying to burn it off and get these Fords out there. Ford is selling their cars at employee prices. So you're talking about thousands of dollars off, thousands of dollars in discounts on brand new cars, certain cars, not every car, but a lot of the domestic cars, of course. But yeah, you're getting the employee prices on these cars. Yeah, you saw that. Yeah, you're getting employee prices on cars. So they're going to be, if you're looking for a new car, you want to get a new car, you wanted to trade in, you get you a brand spanking new Ford. Fresh off the lot. Brand spanking new at a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 discount. That's a deal. So they're doing that with trucks. You find out because I know I will. I'll be right here with y'all. I'm gonna show y'all the corporations that's coming into the United States that's going to be building up, and we're going to look and check, see what their stock numbers are. See what they build, see what their stock numbers are, see where they're sitting, and then if they're good, we're gonna buy those. Well, I'm gonna buy those stocks. I heard new F-150s are suspended for 2 years to clear inventory. That's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know. See, I wouldn't buy a Ford for any price though. I've been foreign since 2000. I know I haven't owned an American car in let's see. Well, the Dodge, I got a Dodge, but I needed to buy a quick car. But I ain't even had the Dodge for, I don't even think I had that car 4 or 5 months before I turned around and bought a Hyundai. And then after the Hyundai, I got the Volkswagen. Yeah, but before the Dodge, I had the Audi. And shoot, what did I have before then? I can't even think of what I had before the Audi, but it'll come to me. But yeah, like I love German engineering. I love the German engineering. At any rate, so and you say this guy right here, he's a hack, I can believe it just by listening to how he talks. Yeah, I can believe he's a money guy, but he sounds like a hack. But more than likely, a lot of these people that be on this show, they have TDS. So they don't know, especially Anna Navarro, they don't be knowing what they be talking about. But let's continue.
Because the dislocation is too great, the chaos is. I know we've got to rush, but because
Forward to be saying we're getting strict thus far. We'll have to see what consumer confidence and spending ultimately is as we go through Q2 of this year. But wouldn't you say it's at least a little premature to be saying we're getting ready to face a recession? And if not, I want to know why, because I don't see the factors there.
I know we've got to rush, but because the dislocation is too great, the chaos is too much, and eventually it overwhelms the system. It's back to my cake rising.
I think
we gotta go.
Well, I think he
flavor.
watched Diamond on TV, but I also think he was hearing from private advisors. I think he was hearing from members of Congress, who, by the way, he's negotiating with over his reconciliation package right now. I think a lot of advice was coming in that led into the day's activities. And if renegotiating with our allies over a 90-day period is the net result of this, isn't that a good thing?
His own administration is not even on the same page.
One of the things that's happened is that the United States has lost is it $1 trillion or $11 trillion since this all began? Maybe regained a little bit of it, but has lost all of that, and not a single trade deal has been struck.
And the reason why they haven't been struck is because lowering the headline tariff number is the easy bit. The 90 days is now going to be dealing really with the non-tariff barriers, the rules on procurement, who can own what this and that and the other. It's difficult stuff. It's very, very difficult. But I have a question, and I'd like to address it to my dear and good friend, Mr. Jennings. This is it. Today, the president gave a 90-day moratorium. Why did he not last week, when he did his show and tell with his list, say then, this is going to be the tariffs in 90 days. Now send your best people to Washington to negotiate with me over the next 90 days. Instead, he took us over the cliff and has now pulled us back up again, and he's left chaos in his way.
It is a great question.
Well, first and foremost, we didn't go over the cliff. Other countries did. We're the United States, bruh. This is the largest consumer market in the world. We're not going anywhere. We spend more money on garbage than any country in the world. That's why China's factories have shut down. Temu has shut down. What U.S. factories have shut down because of what happened April 2nd? Not a one. Like, good, it was overinflated. Like, he never played poker. Exactly. This is the whole thing. Like, okay, boom. Like, this is what you're looking at. This is this is what you're currently looking at right here. What y'all want to do? Then the phone calls start coming in. Like, okay, boom. Let's do a 90. I'll give y'all 90 days to work this out. If you don't work it out, this is what you're looking at. This is how your economy is going to. This is what your economy is going to look like when I impose these tariffs. Now that you got a taste of it, do you want to talk? Do you want to negotiate? If you notice, the only country that's trying to be a dick about anything is China. Because China, because we owe them money, they think that they can raw dog us. No. Maybe you should ask Israel. Okay? You know, since everybody say we bend over backwards for Israel, excuse me, y'all paying y'all 17%. I don't care if you call yourself, well, we're not going to impose any tariffs on you. But that's nice. we still gonna hit y'all with 17%. All the money you owe us, everything we did for you, you lucky is just 17. I don't care how much we favor you. Yeah, you're right. He never played poker. You can tell this guy's never negotiated a goddamn thing in his life. He probably has to beg whatever little wife he had or whatnot when they were first dating for sex. She probably gave him pity sex, and decided to just stick with him because he's kept buying her gifts every time, he got some. Oh, he bought me a Lamborghini. All I did was just give him a little handy. He looked like one of them type of guys. He looked like he paid for it. Anyway, let's hear what Scott has to say.
I think the answer that you would get from the administration is doing it this way gave him maximum leverage. It showed people that he was serious, and it showed people that this isn't for show, that if you don't deal with us, we are willing to act here. But I think the answer is leverage, simply leverage. And now he's going to be able to deal with all these other countries and continue to isolate the bad actor, which is China.
People that he's serious. I think he's shown people that he's crazy. He's mercurial. Honestly, if it was Kamala Harris behaving this way, they'd call her hormonal and hysterical, right? Look.
Well, you'd have to get elected to be.
But, well, yes, and if she had been elected, and if Hillary Clinton had been elected, if any woman had been elected and been acting this way, they'd say it was menopause.
She would have never stood up to China, so I don't think this is a mood issue, right?
No, it's not a mood issue because his craziness and the way that he acts, and this is not in a vacuum, because it's not just the tariffs. It's the first thing he did was attack Panama, Greenland, Denmark, Canada, allies, abandon Ukraine, cozy up to Russia. It's been one thing to after another. But this is also very, very similar.
Should I address everything she just said? Or should I just leave it alone? Because clearly, this is why I call them liquids, low IQ Democrats. We're trillions of dollars in debt because we kept borrowing money in order to fund what's going on in Ukraine. We're trillions of dollars of debt because of what was going on here with the illegals. The other countries, Canada and Mexico, were letting in drugs and gang members like crazy. That's why he imposed tariffs on them. Either stop the flow of drugs and illegals, or I'm going to slap you with these tariffs. I'm going to make you pay for it one way or the other. And suddenly they all stopped. The situation with Greenland, we need their minerals. They're sitting on trillions of dollars in natural resources, trillions. That's this whole situation going on with Greenland is no different than the situation with Ukraine. We can stop the war. We can get Russia off your back. But the thing is that the only reason why Russia is on your back is because they want the resources that you have. So we'll divvy up the resources, which will stop the fighting because you're attacking them. So let's work this out. We're $36 trillion in debt, dummy. How the hell do you think you're going to make that money up? Huh? How are you going to make it up? By taxing the U.S. taxpayers? We're not sitting on that type of money when we don't have any manufacturing jobs. We don't produce anything but social media influencers and college graduates with useless degrees. We produce nothing. So how do you expect to make that money up, Anna?
To what Doge has been doing, where they go in with a sledgehammer when everybody talks about needing a scalpel. With these tariffs, again, went in with a sledgehammer, caused fear, destruction, distrust, when it could have been done with a scalpel in a strategic way. That's just not the way he operates.
Even the administration was not on the same page. I mean, it was the narrative around these tariffs has changed so many times. First, it was, it's punitive because of Mexico and Canada and fentanyl, which, by the way, a majority of the fentanyl crossing the border is from American citizens. Then it was, we're going to level the playing field, and this is how we're going to pay for American citizens in Canada and fentanyl, which, by the way, a majority of punitive because of Mexico and Canada and fentanyl, which, by the way, a majority of the fentanyl crossing the border is from American citizens.
No, it's not. First and foremost, the markers for fentanyl is coming from China. You know, the chemicals that help make up fentanyl, it's coming from China. What U.S. citizens do you know that are in China or getting fentanyl markers from China and then taking the stuff over to Canada? When the ship, they cannot bring those markers into U.S. ports because those markers are denied. So therefore, they dock in Canada and Mexico, and then they assemble the drugs, and then they bring them across the border. You moron! If they hire U.S. citizens who are already the mules, if they're American citizens going back and forth between Mexico and Canada and bringing them in, okay. But the stuff is being manufactured on our northern and southern border. You moron! Coming from China. You moron!
Then it was, we're going to level the playing field and this is how we're going to pay for tax cuts. It does not show that he was serious. It shows that he was grossly unserious. And so yet again, on the heels of a signal group chat and now tariffs, we look like a national embarrassment.
Well, let me just play one thing, Gina. Let me play one thing to Tiffany's point. I mean, Donald Trump and Scott Bessent have not been on the same page about this. Bessent has been trying to paint this as a pretty rosy picture, saying, the bond markets had nothing to do with it, and the way that the market responded had nothing to do with it. Trump said the opposite. Listen to this.
I was watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy.
How much of this decision was driven by the bond market cratering overnight? What is happening with bonds? Is China selling their bonds?
I have nothing that says that, and we actually had quite a good 10-year auction today.
Right. So I'm sorry. What did he say that was contradictory to what Trump just said? He just agreed with him. He's like, I don't know nothing about that, but I know what it's been looking good today. That's what he just said. What did he say that was contradictory to what Trump said? Are you about to gaslight us into some bull? Okay, let's go.
It's kind of a casualty of being in Trump's cabinet that he will contradict you just a few minutes after you say something. But it had everything to do with the bond market. According to all available reporting, they went to the president and said, Mr. President, all the lights are flashing red right now. We have to change course. And he did, perhaps.
But he did. And I think it's important for the president to adhere to the advice of his advisors. These are complicated matters. The market, for the most part, likes stability and continuity. We all understand that. We talked about this the other day. With that said, I think the end result needs to be, can we level set with many of our trading partners and decrease the trade deficits that ultimately exist? If we can do that, I think that's a win. As it pertains to corporate America, I think once we pass corporate tax cuts or renew the Trump tax cuts, I think we'll see a significant amount of that wealth return in the next couple of weeks or 2-3 months. I think corporate America will be perfectly fine, and then we'll move on. The focus does need to be on China. I mean, Scott's right. They steal our IP and sell it back to us. I don't know any country in the world who would give their ideas away for free and then buy the ideas back. We have to figure out a way to protect American businesses and entrepreneurs, and we haven't figured that out in the past couple of years now. So I think there's some benefit to the American people and businesses by focusing the attention on China.
I think everybody agrees with that. The problem is China's not playing ball. They're just ratcheting up the escalation.
But they're going to have to, though, Abby. We are their number one trading partner. We're their number one trading partner.
No. There's no have to in this.
Right.
Because let's start looking at trade flows. I wish I had a map or a diagram. You're going to start seeing south-south trade. You're going to see trade avoiding the United States.
Yeah,
let's remember.
Richard, can I just have you explain very briefly?
Sure.
Wait, hold on. Now I see what. Okay, I'm not familiar with this guy, but now I see why he's on their side. First and foremost, you as a trading partner can call yourself trying to avoid the United States all you want to. Another analogy. You like whatever pizza place you like. So they raised the cost of the pizza by a couple dollars, let's say $5. So because your favorite pizza place with the cheese and the meats and I'm burning the roof of your mouth, but you just can't stop eating it, and you got your beer and all this stuff, and you love this place. The delivery driver know you by name. You a good tipper and everything. Suddenly, because they raised their price up $5, now you're gonna go and buy, them frozen pizzas from Walmart? Is that what you telling me? Is that what you're telling me? You're not gonna buy that nasty cardboard frozen Walmart pizza? Because you didn't want to pay $5 extra for what you love? I mean, it's the biggest consumer market in the world. I'm sorry. Who is going to make up that deficit? Because you want to avoid the United States. Because, some silly Negro and some guy who looked like George Jefferson's upstairs neighbor, was it Mr. Bentley? Because they say so? Is that what I'm supposed to think? I'm supposed to believe them?
What South-South trade means for people who are, you said it a few times.
Well, it's basically anything, it doesn't go through the Northern Hemisphere. It's southern hemispheric countries trading with each other, avoiding Northern Hemispheric, and that would include the EU with its regulations, and the United States. We're seeing huge amounts of Africa to Central and Latin America, Australasia, Asian, ASEAN trade. Can I just also have a reality check here? The sword of Damocles, if you will, has been lifted again and is now hanging over on the big stuff. But we still have steel and aluminium, or aluminum, as you insist on saying, steel and aluminium tariffs.
We're in America, Richard Quest.
We still have auto tariffs, 25%. We've still got 125% on China. And we have he has tripled the average tariff overall to 10%, which is livable. I'll give you that, Scott. It's livable, 10%, but it's still a tripling of where it was just a couple of weeks ago.
But Richard, how do you account for the fact that China has seen a significant decrease in their economic growth throughout fiscal year 2024 compared to 2023, and how that has to factor into the considerations of Xi Jinping moving forward and trying to bridge some type of a trade deal with the United States?
If Xi Jinping was standing for Beijing North in an election, it would, but it doesn't.
Different kind of system. Effectively, no politics, Cher Michael. I think this is an important point. China, Xi Jinping does not have to deal with politics in the way that Donald Trump and the Republican Party have to deal with it. That is a fundamental difference in our systems. So they can withstand a lot of pain.
I think, hold on. I think they took it off. They took it down. Hold on. Because I wanted to get where it was Scott and old girl got into the argument. And it looks like they took it off. They took it down because it caused too much controversy. That's exactly what they did. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Somebody else got it though. Here we go. Yeah, they took this down. They took it down, but we gonna get in it.
Land, you cannot just go and say, I like it, it's mine now. It doesn't work that way. Well, that is what they're trying to do. And in this new world order, yeah, absolutely. When they're looking at Greenland and say, I like it, I want to take it for mine, that is a very colonized attitude.
I have never ever said we're going to go to Greenland and, quote, colonize it or steal it.
You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point. I'm talking about the president of the United States doing that.
You got fired from your job.
You can agitate.
Now, you caught that, right? Now that we're here. All right. So here's what happened. They got to arguing about Greenland. Okay, it's funny CNN took the video down. One of their best videos. Well, you know what it is, because it made Scott look good, and she was getting roasted for it all over the internet. She's getting roasted for it, but she was trying to say that we were trying that we were trying to colonize Greenland. Who the hell wants to live in Greenland? It's not about colonization. It's just like with any other country, just like we're trying to do with Ukraine. We're trying to work out a deal for their natural resources. So, in typical Negro racist fashion, y'all trying to colonize it. Like we finna go up there with some conquistadors and swords and get them smallpox blankets and grape the women and enslave them in chains or whatnot.
Land, you cannot just go and say, I like it, it's mine now. It doesn't work that way. Well, that is what they're trying to do. And in this new world order, yeah, absolutely. When they're looking at Greenland and say, I like it, I want to take it for mine, that is a very colonizing attitude.
It's not what they're doing, but they're trying. It's called a negotiation, stupid. But listen to what she said to Scott that made him fire back.
You have said I have never ever said we're going to go to Greenland and quote colonize it or steal it. That's
You're not
crazy.
a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point.
You hear what she said? I'm not even talking about you. You're not a member of government. You're irrelevant. Woo! Bitch. Scott. Abdul, get the rocks.
Talk about the president of the United States doing
You got fired from your job.
You can agitate.
Now watch his face while she's sitting up here, sister girl, and watch his face. Watch how he's staring to the camera.
Scott, if you want to engage in personal insults,
I don't, but you do.
You lack in a legitimate point, you make up for it in personal insults.
I don't. You
personal
do.
insults. The point I am making is in this new world order, we are looking at countries, whether or not they're an adversary or ally, it is being determined on what kind of deal we can get. And we cannot govern, we cannot legislate that way. We are increasingly isolated on the world stage.
No, we're not.
So if you want to engage in personal insults,
we're not
if I were
isolated.
you, I would reserve that for your party, who
We're
is
not
increasingly
isolated.
this our position.
Outside of
Oh yeah, he roasted her. Let me mute that. It's conflicting with my thing. Can y'all read that? Here, I'll read it. Let me bag it up. I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, she is nasty. American strategist and writer Scott Jennings has brutally taken down former MSNBC host Tiffany Cross on CNN. The interaction came on the set of CNN Newsnight, where a panel discussed U.S. President Donald Trump in Greenland. See, President Trump has had a long time goal to have the United States of America take over Greenland. During the panel discussion, Cross blasted Jennings and claimed the Trump administration wanted to colonize Greenland. I have never ever said we are going to go to Greenland and, quote, colonize it or steal it. That's crazy. Said Cross, upset with Jennings, took aim at him and said, "You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant." See, they admit she was wrong. She started it. She's a moron. Jennings really retaliated back at Cross, saying she got fired from her job at MSNBC. If you want to engage in personal insults, what you lack in a legitimate point, you make up for in personal insults. You started it. You started the personal insults, you moron. Jennings retaliated, saying he didn't want to engage in personal insults, but Cross did, drawing attention to the fact she started it. Right. Say social media has erupted over the exchange, with many praising Jennings' shutdown and blasting Cross. Look, you see the tweets now. Benny Johnson, I watch him sometimes. Scott Jennings is the only reason CNN has any viewers. You got fired from your job. How relevant are you? Let's see. Gunther Eagleman, I don't know who that is, but he said the dude is awesome. I guess these are people who have large channels. Because even one of the dudes, black dudes I listen to, even they posted one of his tweets. Scott Jennings is a national treasure. The way he looks into the camera when these idiots spew garbage is hilarious. You say, what's the name of that app that tells you the political link? Oh, Ground News. Ground News. All right, let's see. During the panel discussion, the group discussed China, where Cross attempted to claim China was not America's enemy. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, because this is where she said something very stupid. Like, China's not our enemy. Like, you were...
That we are dependent on so many things to come out of our biggest adversary in the world. They are the enemy, and we should not be dependent on them.
But no, they are not our enemy. They're our biggest trading partner. And if we
They've got rare earth minerals and you don't.
They're the enemy.
My thing is, chick, you were MSNBC. You hosted a show on there for a couple years, and you were so stupid that you don't know that China is our enemy? What makes you think China is our friend? They steal our IPs. They spy on us. They have farmland surrounding all of our nuclear silos. They got spy balloons. What are you talking about? What do you mean they're not our enemies? Then why are we catching their spies in our country? What are you talking about? Who do you think they are to us? Oh my God. Liquid. Yeah, DeVroy Darkins. I think I told y'all about this guy. He's a black conservative. Yeah, I watch his show. Saying one of the clearest examples of pure ignorance, Tiffany Cross claims China is not our enemy and expresses sympathy for the communist country. Scott Jennings and Shermichael Singleton teaches her the basics. Yeah. Because that was very stupid of her to say that. But you know, black females. Tiffany Cross comments come as the trade war continues between China and the United States. You're welcome. He's scared to say he's black Darkins. President Trump has placed 125% tariff on China and paused reciprocal tariffs on around 75% of the other countries. Let's see. Yeah, he's right. Strelmark President Hillary Forthwith says Donald Trump is playing a big game of chicken as he knows China needs the United States. Right. All these countries need the United States. They all want our market. They're not avoiding nothing. Hillary joined Sky News digital presenter Gabriela Power to discuss Donald Trump's tariffs on China.
Now is Hillary Forthwith, president and founder of Strelmark. Hillary, thank you for joining us. What a day. This is the art of the deal playing out. And just to recap, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I'm hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realise that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. He goes on to say in his post there, conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the US to negotiate a solution, and these countries have not retaliated.
I can leave it here. We can leave it here. I just wanted to get that exchange. But yeah, you know what it is, these liquids because you get an iPhone from China or whatnot. Matter of fact, that's why I hated that they took the main video down, because he asked her after she said that stupid stuff about China being our friend. It's not in the rest of the video, but he asked her, he said, so you support China? And she said yes. So then he broke down some facts. So you support cheap labor made by children in sweatshops as slave labor. That way you can get an iPhone. Is that what you support? Well, I don't support the working conditions. Well, then you don't support China. I know because I'm trying not to curse, so I'm calling these people morons. Then you don't support China, moron. She said up there, that's what she said. She said, an iPhone gonna cost $3,000. I'm like, why the hell are you paying over $1,000 for? Why are you paying over $3,000 for this? All you're gonna do is be on social media, make a few phone calls, take some pictures. This is a toy. Y'all do understand these phones are nothing. These are nothing but toys. This is a toy that you're so attached to. It's such a status symbol for you that if silly people think that if you don't own the latest iPhone, then you have no value. It's giving broke. What? The phones are literally designed to go kaput when the new models are released. They do. Tell me we all know this. You say Apple filled 5 cargo planes with Apple products and flew them to India to avoid tariffs. Samsung S5 active enters the chat. Right. They literally, when the iPhone comes out with a new phone, suddenly your Apple iPhone, suddenly now gets an update that you can't avoid. And you know what happens? Your phone all of a sudden starts acting wonky. Am I lying? Those of you who have these Apple phones got some cool features, but you paying over $1,000 for, a cool feature? So now you gotta get rid of this phone, which you probably haven't even finished paying off yet, because they release a new freaking phone almost every 8 months to a year. Now you done dropped another $1,000 to $1,200, $1,400, $1,500 on a new toy. Woo. This phone, less than $200. Less than $200, and it does the same thing that any other phone does. The Google work, the YouTube work, okay, the TikTok work, all the apps work, the pictures work, the videos work, the phone calls work, they don't drop. 200. What makes an Apple more special than an Android? What makes a $1,200 Apple more special than a $200 Android? Trying to impress a moron? Whew. Then people run around here wondering why they broke. Oh my God.
RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is the
It's a category of crime.
I swear to God, and sometimes it feels like that. It looks cool with your Starbucks, with your pumpkin spice latte. All right, y'all, let's get out of here. We went on way too long for a Friday. Y'all be safe out here. I won't see y'all tomorrow. I won't see y'all Sunday, but I'll definitely see y'all Monday. Y'all be safe. Oh, I did a new outro. So I catch y'all.
You're fired. And in case your ears are fucked, get the fuck out. And the next person I see juggling, tap dancing, or baton twirling, or doing any other circus-like tricks will join him, all right? One strike policy applies. Now get back to work. God damn, that felt good.
All right, bye. Thanks for the fun.